phones as well. Now understand, as bad as this is going to sound, this is not 1/100th of the knowledge that I'm aware of, and I'm probably not aware of half of what's going on. The more I learn, the less I know that I know. It just always gets worse, always gets crazier than we had first broken down. Now remember, I had gotten on the air 13 years ago with the Telecommunications Act of 96 and said they're turning all the major telecommunications and cyber systems that are private with $9 billion of federal money into giant wiretaps. And it was admitted it was designed for the feds to cull through it without wiretaps. That was debated in Congress. And then I would have listeners call in and say, there's no such thing as the NSA. There's no such thing as Echelon. Remember in the mid-90s, it didn't exist. So let's throw that Mother Jones article up first. Should Obama control the internet? And if you scroll down in the article, they have the quotes by Jay Rockefeller and Senator Olympia Snowe as well, saying, should President Obama have the power to shut down the domestic internet traffic during a state of emergency? Senators John Rockefeller, that goes by Jay, and Olympia Snowe, senators, think so. And that's the bill that Obama has signed in as an executive order. This is the accompanying bill. Now, that's just to head off one small part of this larger story. People are in denial. This story, posted at INFOWARS.com and PrisonPlanet.com, a detailed analysis by Paul Watson that gives you a wide spectrum view of what's happening. People are all over both websites commenting, saying we're making it up. There's no way to shut down the internet. Well, the stated goal of the Pentagon and the Cyber Command is to do just that. And the head of cybersecurity quit in March. Cybersecurity chief resigns amid turf battle. In a blunt letter, Rod Bergstrom cited clash with national security agencies. So they act like it's a turf battle. When you actually read what he had to say, he says a threat to our democracy with the Pentagon taking over all private internet activity in the United States. And in a blunt letter to Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano, Bergstrom complained about a shortage of money for the center and clash over whether the national security agencies should control cyber efforts. The role of the NSA in protecting domestic computer networks has triggered debate, particularly among privacy and civil libertarians groups. So this is kind of an MSNBC whitewash. You pull up the other articles, you can actually read him saying, in fact, I want that on screen. I meant to have that article. Just Google head of cybersecurity resigns, says threat to democracy. I want folks to see that in case there's any denial out there. So that said, let me just read over the 4 pages of notes that I've boiled this down to of different control grid points. The cashless society surveillance grid to control mobility and purchasing and to track and trace all you buy, sell, and do, track all your internet activity, track all your private activity, track your car everywhere you drive by scanning and reading your license plate. That's now nationwide in the U.S., all over Europe, all over England. It's a global treaty. It's all integrated in global databases under treaties. I want to go over that. Yeah, U.S. cybersecurity chief quits over NSA power grab, the register. U.S. government cybersecurity chief abruptly quit last week amid allegations his office was woefully underfunded and unduly controlled by the country's ultra-secretive national security agency. And he goes on to say that it is a threat to our freedoms. So, yeah, that's got his actual quotes from his letter right there out of the register. I was trying to read it across the room and couldn't, had to look over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, this was a quick segment, the long segment coming up. I'm going to break down these different points and tie it all together. And MIT, the Pentagon, the UN, it's all stated. Internet 2, which is a consortium, everything you're going to hear here is on record. This is what they admit. Can you imagine what we don't know? Can you imagine what we're not being told? So we will go over all of it on the other side of this quick break right here on the GCN Radio Network.
But the hardest thing
through international treaties in 2000 is one they had in Australia. We already have a world ID agreed upon standardization of the type of digital photo, the type of biometrics, the type of fingerprints biometrically. Through the treaty, we already have a world ID system. That's why Germany and England and Japan, when the United States makes people entering it biometrically scanned, the very same companies, the very same systems are contracted to put in those grids in other parts of the world. So this is internationally standardized. And all the things you see that individually are horrible tyranny are all openly set up by think tanks, openly rolled out and taught in the universities. Most of the big grants and the people that are getting their tuition paid for with scholarships now. The biggest growth industry isn't just law enforcement, but it's Homeland Security, data mining, and Total Information Awareness Network, and Patriot Act compliance. So this is all in the industry publications. It's a big joke to them. Everything you buy, everything you sell, everything you do, everything you believe, everywhere you surf, everything you do, as the New York Times bragged years ago, dealing with the Total Information Awareness Network, is now being integrated and tracked. So you can forget trying to hide out and not be in their system. The answer is bring the criminals to justice. Bring the bankers that are destroying the dollar and our sovereignty to justice. I'm going to cover that next hour. Now, thinking about this show for the last week, the reason I keep holding off doing it is because there is so much data. So I just want to make that point. This is full of notes on it. These are just notes, Alf, those notes that I wrote today, trying to boil it down. Let me just go over these. This is an opting into the matrix is what's happening right now, where Google announces, oh, we have a new system we're using now for 4 years where the cameras and microphones built into all the new computers. We have a AI software listening to every word you say, what you do, watching you. If your dog's barking, then Google ads for dogs and dog food and dog toys and dog medicine and heartworm medicine pops up on screen. That was the example they used. Or if we hear you watching a particular show or see it off the computer camera, we will then advertise products that go along with that psychological algorithm, that personality type. This is announced. In fact, people won't believe it. Punch it up on screen. Google using cameras and microphones to track computer users. I think that was the Prison Planet headline. And then we've got links to Google's press release. So, I mean, they're bragging about this. And other companies are doing it. TiVo, remember the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction with her breasts coming out in the Super Bowl, that staged event, as staged as the Barat guy, you know, falling on Eminem at the MTV Awards. I told you that was staged. Now they admit it's staged. I mean, come on. It's all staged, folks. Quit being so gullible. TiVo came out and said, oh, we had 2.2 million rewinds and replays. And the Chicago Tribune said, but I'd always been saying, you mean that's a two-way system? You're tracking what they do? And they said, yeah. See, there's thousands of these examples. So you're opting into the matrix. I have another article here today that's on the front page of Xbox.com. Just go to Xbox.com, and it's Steven Spielberg running it. And I know somebody that worked high level for Microsoft in development of the Xbox. It's meant to take over your computer, your cell phone, your whole life, your identity, your friends. The outside world will be so bad you'll want to be in the simulated world. This, you scan with a camera on it, your body, your biometrics. You turn forward, sideways, and backwards. Your 360 body is now scanned. Two-way, the feds are in it. This is Microsoft is the feds, just like IBM. On record, in-game covers it. It's now declassified. We covered it 2 years ago. It's now mainstream news. But I know people high level, two different people, but one super high level in the involvement with the development of all this. And this is literally meant to mesmerize, to lower your brain waves, to put you into a trance. Television already does it, but this is to bring you to the next level. This is the opting into the matrix. Notice the kids, when you see them at restaurants, they're not talking to their parents. They're texting. They watch 4 or 5 hours of TV a day, 2 or 3 hours of video games. They won't talk to their friends across the table. They're texting to them. They're not having language anymore. That's a major British study about all this media. People don't have language anymore. The language is being reduced down where you can't talk to people. So we're being sucked into the matrix. The TV screen is a lens on which projects through the eyes, which are brain stems, literally windows into the soul, interfacing. And so we're being mesmerized, being sucked into the crystal ball. That's how they liken it. So people are opting into the matrix. being sucked in. 30, 40 years ago, writers talked about how you'd live in Manhattan or Houston or wherever, and you'd see high-rise buildings with people fighting and people playing pool and people gambling or people having sex or people reading or people laughing. Now you look at high-rise buildings and it's nothing but blue glow at night. No one's talking. No one's living. The TV is the life. And it's teaching you how to tattle on your neighbors. It's teaching you you're fat and inadequate. It's teaching you that cops tasering you are good and the Second Amendment's bad. It's all messages, all brainwashing. That torture is good. That vaccines are good. It's all, you're opting in, and it's made to be comfortable and funny and goofy, and you're